Hi, everyone. This is Gabby with the LTRC. Thank you for joining us for 5 ways the cloud delivers artificial and business intelligence that will make your firm more competitive, with our sponsor, BQE Software, as part of the LTRC Industry Insight Series held every Wednesday. We have 2 speakers joining us today. One of them is Steve Burns. Steve spent 14 years managing his firm, Burns and Barrel Architects, which he left to establish a startup to create Archie Office, the smart office and practice management solution for architects and engineers. In 2009, Steve merged his firm and his management expertise with BQE Software, where he has been perfecting the business strategy and product development of professional service software such as BQE Core, launched in 2017. Our other speaker today is Rosemary Cuthbert. She is a project expert at Core Legal at BQE Software. She has more than 30 years experience as a firm administrator and then a consultant to over 1,000 law firms nationwide, helping to improve their workflow and administrative efficiency through business and technology. Thank you all for joining us. We'll now begin the webinar.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you for the introduction, Gabby. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It is unusual time, so I appreciate every moment you can spare. It should go without mentioning at the top of this webinar that most likely everybody attending today is doing so from home, courtesy of the coronavirus. But what's really important for me to point out is that the cloud, it was built precisely for the situation that we find ourselves in today. It was created to allow the storing and sharing and delivering of data, applications, services, and software through the internet. And it was created to enable a remote or a distributed workforce. And by doing so, it was going to simplify our work and reduce our costs. So it's important that I share that particular point with you right now. We do have a bunch of poll questions. I think 7 of them, Rosemary, is what we said we're going to do, Gabby. So we're going to start, before we get into the content here, with I think 4 poll questions, and I'd love it if everybody could just quickly respond to these poll questions, and they might help give us some insight as we move forward. So Gabby, if you want to unmute maybe and launch the polls.
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll.
Yeah, so this first question is really to see how many of you in attendance today had a firm that was already, when the COVID-19 work from home came down upon us, were you all set up and ready to not lose a moment? So yes, you're all working that way, but you had a VPN and a remote desktop situation, or you were already in a cloud platform. So I'm preaching to the crowd, or were you caught off guard? And so Gabby, I don't know how long you wait with each poll question, or if you can see real-time results. But if
I can see real-time results, so I'll go ahead and give everybody about another 10 seconds, and then we'll go ahead and share our results.
Cool. It's also nice for everybody to find out how prepared was everybody else for the situation. So, look at that, Rosemary. About almost half of the people use VPN and remote desktop, and a third of them are, in the cloud already, and only 20% caught off guard. So that's cool.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Gabby, you got
really good. Yeah.
A couple more here.
Yep, we ready for poll number 2?
This is a question about, does your firm have a single solution, a single platform that really integrates these various kinds of essentials meeting or mission needs in your company, like handling your billing and your accounting and your basic management tasks? Do you have a single system? Yes, you love it, works great. Yes, we have a system, but boy, some of us or all of us struggle with it. Or no, we still use a bunch of various not integrated solutions to help us get the job done and run the firm. So love it if you could let us know about that.
All right, we'll go about 10 seconds and then we'll share our results.
Okay. Look at that, Rosemary. So almost half the people still use unrelated systems to run the company, and
Yeah, which means
37% are kind of happy, which is great. Love that when people are happy. Okay, great. We have 2 more poll questions in this section, and then we have 3 more at the end. So what's the next one, Gabby? Great. So this is about mobility, which we're going to talk a lot about. So just curious, this is a multi-select. So you can select all the items that you are able to do using a mobile device, like a tablet or mobile phone, smartphone. Please let us know which things you can actually do when you're on that device, as opposed to having to go to a computer in a traditional manner and enter data in.
Yeah, to run a report or invoice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There should be 10 items. Is it scrollable? Let's see. Oh, yeah.
It's scrollable. So if you can't see all of them, just go ahead and scroll down, and we've got a couple more options for you.
Yeah. So just click off the ones that you can do from your mobile device. And this is the penultimate poll question at this stage, and then we have one towards the tail end of the presentation.
All right, I'll give everybody about 10 more seconds, and then we'll share our results.
Okay. Cool. Look at that. The biggest number there looks like 86% do have contact management, which is clear. Interesting. Time tracking. Half of them. Oh, interesting. Only half of you track time on your mobile device. Third, reporting. Anything stand out to you? A lot of note taking. That's pretty great. Look at that. 71%.
Documents.
Documents. Terrific. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I forgot. Was that our 4th question, or was that our 3rd question, Gabby?
That was, I think, our 3rd.
Okay, so we have 1 more, and then we'll move back to the presentation.
Yep, here's our 4th. I'll go ahead and launch that one.
Okay, and I regularly use my mobile device too. Ooh, I guess that should have been a multi-select. Unfortunately, that one's not. That's unfortunate. Probably should have told you that, Gabby. So I guess since it's not multi-select, maybe pick the one that you use it most frequently for. Maybe we'll do that. And we don't have to wait too long for that, because I'd like to get in to content.
All right, couple more seconds, everybody, and then I'll go ahead and share those results.
Okay, uploading receipts and entering time, the most popular ones. Okay, tracking mileage, very small. Okay, cool. Thank you, Gabby, for running those. Stick around because we got some more polls running later, so you can go ahead and close that out. And let's move on. Okay, so the cloud, as some of you can clearly show because you are using mobility, it's not the future, it's prime time, it's now, it's proven, it's mature. For the last 5 years, I've literally been delivering presentations around the world, making the argument that firm owners should move their business into the cloud. And frankly, it used to be a pretty big lift for me to explain to a firm owner why they should drop their perfectly functional on-premise servers and what they believe to be their indispensable IT departments and put their business in the cloud. Everything was working just fine. Now, this is a slide that I used to spend 10, maybe 15 minutes discussing each of these 12 bullet points. They're all really great reasons why your firm should be moving into the cloud. But this is really no longer a debate today. All I really have to say is COVID-19, right? And I have a plus after that because I don't think this is over. Even if COVID-19 is really reined in. Some other things are going to be happening in our futures, which means we need to not use the cloud as a stopgap measure, just to deal with a crisis. It's really the future of your firm. Your firm will not return to business as normal prior to March of 2020. You really need to look at the cloud in this moment in your firm's history as a pivotal moment, really a transformation that will make your firm more resilient. So when it comes to looking at advances in technology that can be applied to our own businesses, help us perform our work more efficiently, manage our matters more profitably, or even serve our clients better, we're often very complacent. And the legal industry is not unique in this shortcoming. Frankly, I deal with a lot of professional service firms, and they all suffer from this shortcoming. It's like if someone isn't literally paying you to change, you're less inclined to actually enact any change. And my personal belief is that every one of us deserves a business that has systems and processes in place which are as inspiring and elegant as the services that you provide your clients. And in order for that to happen, you need to apply the same time and care into managing the firm as you do your clients. And again, I used to plead with people, don't wait for which is now some sort of a traumatic event, like something quaint, like being paralyzed by malware or ransomware or a computer virus before you look at your systems and say things need to change. Today, a virus of a very different sort has made it abundantly clear that the cost of those old technologies, hosted on-premise, they're not only expensive to manage, but they're nearly impossible to use when your team is working from home, as most everybody here today is. And by the way, if I ever refer to a remote workforce and a distributed workforce, just want to quickly clarify that a remote workforce is where you have an office and there are some of your employees who are just not there. They work from home or they work from some remote location. But a distributed environment, a distributed workforce is a company that's actually set themselves up as having no single location, no office. Everybody works distributed, and the cloud was what was built to help those companies thrive. Now, I do have 3 slides. I'm going to just go through these really quickly. I'm not going to talk about all these logos up here. I've identified certain cloud-based solutions that are available, certainly for the legal industry. It's not my intention to recommend any particular solution. I just want you to appreciate the robustness of the ecosystem that is out there in the cloud. So first up is this cloud storage, a place for files and documents. And I saw that a lot of you are doing documents from your mobile platform, so you have some recognizable logo on the screen undoubtedly. A number of years back, when this was still a pretty nascent technology, a lot of people would push back on the cloud for storage and documents. We have unreliable internet, it's too slow, there's big files, it takes too long. But these technologies have advanced now. They have, sync technologies that keep a local file for you so you don't have to wait, and they sync them in the background. But another really important aspect to using cloud for file storage is it really obviates the need to email documents. And I think that this has been an enormous plague on the legal industry, having multiple versions of documents that are floating around and emailing back and forth these things, and you have little confidence that what you were just handed or emailed is the correct and the most recent version. That's a big problem. So the cloud solves that problem by being the single source of truth. It's the repository with the best systems that provide a clear history of what changes are made and by whom. So some of these systems out there really do manage the whole who's touched the document, what changes they've made, at what time of day they made those changes, all that cool stuff. Now, today, obviously, we're in Zoom technology. We're all pretty familiar with that right now, but these are a variety of platforms out there that help you with communication with your team, with your clients, with your colleagues, everything else. Some of these items you'll see a lot in the legal space. They also, by the way, many of them have a freemium model, which is basically you can try their technology out without being charged for it. If this is a proof of concept for you, great, but I would always encourage you to get a paid account where you get access to the more robust tools that really help you in business. But it's a great way for proof of concept. The last one I wanted to show you is sort of matter management cloud platforms out there. Undoubtedly, a number of you are using some of these logos in here. Our own company is in the top middle BQE core. But again, I'm not promoting any particular one. I'm just going to be doing my demonstrations today using our platform to explain how the cloud makes that change. But I want you to also appreciate the difference. Not all clouds are created equal. You know, there's cumulonimbus clouds and cirrus clouds, all kinds of clouds, right? But that's just to let you know that if some company says we're in the cloud, it doesn't mean they have what we like to think of as a true cloud, a native cloud. Technologies that were built when the cloud was created using modern software technology. So they have APIs, application programming interfaces, making it possible for that platform to communicate with some of the other things that are in the cloud that you might find useful in your company. There's a lot of players out here on the screen that have old technologies that are 10 years or in some cases 20 years old that you used to have in your office on a server. And then they're basically saying, we're going to lift and shift that up into the cloud and make it accessible to you everywhere you go, and you feel good that you're in the cloud. But I want to point out that that is not a true cloud. That's basically managed hosting services, but you're still having the same 2-decade-old underlying technology. And as we go through some of this, you're going to see what's missing when you use the old technologies versus a modern cloud technology out there. Okay, now I'm going to give away these 5 areas we're going to discuss in the coming slides. One is it's always cloudy. I don't mean that literally, but it's basically the cloud is pervasive. It is ubiquitous. We will never not have the cloud, and it's especially resilient. So you don't have to worry about, oh, as I saw more than half of you, I think, were using a VPN and remote desktop things. These require a lot they're very sensitive and require a lot of upkeep. The cloud's not that kind of a problem. We're all meeting today on Zoom. I've not encountered a single issue with a Zoom event. Real-time dashboards, having the ability to get actionable information instantly in front of you and having that being customizable. These are the things you're going to see, you know, without having to hire programmers to do that stuff. This is things you're going to see in true cloud solutions. Automation, a lot of us traditionally have spent a lot of our time doing mundane, repetitive things, you know, doing the billing, you know, it takes days every month to happen. This is unnecessary in the cloud. So we're going to look at some of that. And that's the smart billing side of things, is you shouldn't have to gather people's time and figure out bill rates and figure out contracts. The systems in the cloud will manage that for you. And the last item of mobility, it's really the fundamental piece of the cloud. As I mentioned about a distributed workforce, is having, doesn't matter what device you're on and where you are in the world. And as a way to actually explain that, I did a tweet on May 30th of this year after I took possession of my new Tesla Y. And yes, I am now a Tesla convert. But I was in the car for only a couple minutes before I called up my BQE core cloud on my Tesla dashboard, right? So I'm not having to sit in front of a computer or have my mobile phone in front of me to get to the cloud. I now have my BQE Core Legal dashboard open in front of me on my Tesla dashboard. I got a dashboard on a dashboard. So if you've got a mobile, a smartwatch, right, or a tablet, the cloud is everywhere you go. So I could be using autopilot to drive to the courthouse and be going through some documents or to-dos or what's going on in my day, and have that right there. So that's one of the things that the cloud delivers for you when it's true native. Now, speaking of dashboards, I just wanted to show you when you do have the functionality of a full featured real-time dashboard that's customizable, what you can do with it. So for example, I've gathered all the to-dos that might be related to me or my team of people, and I want to manage and monitor who's doing things, how complete are they. So I look at the to-dos, which of course I can see on my mobile phone if I wanted to pull that out. I like to track my clients' margins. How profitable are these clients? So I see real time, what kind of revenue are we making? How much has it cost us to earn that revenue, and what my profit margins are. And again, the phone is there with me all the time to get me that exact same information. Then I could see any notes. So maybe somebody in the office has got off the phone discussing something with another counsel, and I want to read those notes. They're coming in my dashboard feed for me in my car while I'm driving on that Tesla dashboard. And of course, I could pull out the phone while I'm in a meeting and take a look at what notes have been added recently. This is a financial widget kind of showing me all of my matters that are currently active that I care about. How much have we contracted if we have a defined contract? How much have we billed? How much have we spent? What's the value of the work in progress, which is what hopefully we'll be billing out this coming month, at the end of the month? And how much do my clients owe me? What's the open receivables? And there's obviously I can have that again on my phone. And then lastly, there's a few more in my dashboard. I won't scroll down to that. But of course, all of those are available to me courtesy of the cloud in rich, vibrant imagery. So that's a beautiful, rich experience that you get, and it's all real time. Now, Rosemary asked me yesterday if I would be sure to touch on something which is human resources. So clearly a lot of what you do is matter management and billing and accounting. But I want to point out that we all say our most important asset are our employees. So in our environment, we give you access to everything that you need in the firm. So here I'm inside of an employee record, Sally Ryan, and I'm looking at her benefit usage. But of course, I have access to all those employees on that mobile phone and drill down into the record for Sally Ryan. I could see how she's been using her benefits, and it's in real time accruing benefits. I don't have to wait for a report from my payroll service or have an Excel spreadsheet to understand how much vacation has she used or earned, how much sick leave has she used up or earned, and how much comp time. If maybe you have some employees where you want to track comp time for them, and it will automatically figure out how many hours of comp time do they have available to take off. So I see that right here. Even I can check on their salary history. I don't need to come back to an office that nobody's working in today because we're working from home to find a filing cabinet with Sally's salary history in it. I can just pull up her name, find all of her pay raises, open one up, or maybe I've just come out of a meeting where she was performing really well and want to give her, a bonus and change things. I have access to that HR information. I can do employee reviews or look at last year's performance review and then go ahead and fill out this year's performance review while I'm sitting on the beach here in Los Angeles, and then have a Zoom meeting with Sally next week to talk about how I felt about her performance. Tracking any incidents that might be worthy of an insurance claim or something of that nature, something more, a legal issue, or any of her achievements that I might want to consider when I'm considering a sit and pay increase. So inside of our BQE Core Legal platform, I have access not just to all the time and billing stuff, but detailed information about my employees who are my most important asset. I decided I wanted to create a special dashboard that looked right into a particular matter, the Warner versus the state of California. And this is one where I have all of these items, like my to-dos, filtered to only show me the ones related to that particular matter, again, on my phone. Any of those notes on my phone. All those documents that have been added by anybody on the team is there. And of course, click that particular document, and maybe I want to share that with a colleague. And on my mobile phone, obviously, it's a native mobile app. Boom, I can just go ahead and message that or share it to whom via an email, whatever you might have. So I'm inside of that matter. It's the Warner versus state of California, not a real matter, by the way. And then looking at a performance screen. So we give you real-time performance of your employees, your vendors, your clients, and the matters. And so what am I looking at here? I could see instantly that there's $558 of work in progress. So maybe it's a couple of hours of some people's time and maybe some billable expense. It's like some printing done. But if another employee adds an hour in their time card and they bill out at $300 an hour, this goes up by $600 right in front of my eyes. I fortunately still have $10,000 in a trust account, a retainer account for this particular client. And this is money out of the firm owner's pockets that they've invested as of this very minute in time on this particular matter, right? So if I'm tracking mileage, and I'll show you that a little bit later on my core mobile app, and it recognizes where I am and that it's related to this matter, it will add it to this project with my permission, and that cost of that travel is added in real time through the cloud. Fortunately, for me, my clients paid most of our invoices. They only owe us $524, and we still have $68,655 of future revenue to look forward to based on our contract. We've only burned through 31% of our contract. I wish all projects or matters look this way. It's a 48% profit margin. So we billed the client $32,936 as of this moment. That's their invoices in their hand. And it's cost us $17,001 to produce that work that generated that revenue. And lucky for me, not a single hour we spent on that project of the 88 hours was marked non-billable. They were all passed on to our client. A couple other ones on this screen, the contract analysis, where you can see in real time how we're performing against our contract, or better yet, maybe you have a more restrictive budget. Maybe I have a junior partner who's responsible for this matter, and I've given them basically only 80% of the contract. Do I expect them to deliver these services in? And I could see that. I could even have limits on what I want them to spend on billable expenses, or maybe my client says, I'm going to cap our billable expenses at a certain number and see where we stand with that. While I'm on my computer, looking at the core legal platform in my browser, I have access to all those documents that we talked about earlier that we have access to on any device. I could see all my to-dos. This is a great quality control aspect of your matters. All these things that you need to take care of to do that responsibly as a professional. Are they being done? Assign them to people to have them do it. Give them a due date for it. Core platform will automatically notify them that this is a to-do that's assigned to them, and when it's expected, they'll be notified through the mobile app. They could even get an email notification. So this is all happening in the background since I simply just assigned a new to-do to somebody to take care of. And of course, they're on my mobile phone. All those documents, all those phone conversations, I just got off the phone with somebody related to this matter. I'm adding those notes in the system, and everybody who has access to this matter has access to those notes. I don't have to send them an email with those notes. That's insane. Why would you do that? And they're available to me on my mobile platform. How am I on time? I'm okay. We wanted to talk about automation. And so I wanted to give you a couple examples of what we mean by automation. When I said that earlier, it's these things that you do regularly, like running reports. How many of you, do it yourselves or ask some assistant to get reports for you? No one really needs to stop in their day and gather information if your data is in a single system, integrated system in the cloud. So here is an example. I've done a search for any report with the word aged in it, and it's found the aged work in progress with accounts receivables report. Maybe that's a report I like to run monthly or weekly in this case. And I want it to be run on a particular time of day. I want this to happen every Friday, at 5 p.m. And I would select some recipients to get that. And that means every single day, every Friday at 5 p.m., an email will be sent to the recipients with a report, a PDF attached to it. So the beauty of this, by the way, is typically people print out reports and they put it on someone's desk when we had a desk to go to. And then they would come back from something and they put a bunch of files on top of it. It would get lost and no one would read it. But if you schedule these things, it means you could say, I know Steve is available at 5 p.m. on Fridays. That's what he does, but if Monday at 9 a.m., I don't want him to be given this report because he's not going to pay attention to it. So scheduling reports to happen automatically and delivered to people, so they don't have to go into their, device and call up the report and send it to people. But you can do it on call if you want to, but scheduling them, hugely powerful. By the way, it's my single favorite feature in all of our platform is doing that, because we know how valuable it is to give people information when their mind is available to look at it as opposed to getting it lost in a heap of information. Other automation things I wanted to just share with you. For example, inside that Warner versus the state of California is the ability to do automatic billing. So just like reports are being automatically, we know we want to invoice this client maybe monthly, and we want it to happen on a particular day each month. So we can set that up, and I've assigned Scott Jackson to be the the assigned biller, meaning Core will automatically ping him. They'll notify Scott, hey, the invoice for the Warner versus State of California matter has been produced and is ready for you to review. So that means that people don't have to stop and do this. It also means that you can be billing throughout the month. You don't have to wait once a month to do your invoicing. Have a bunch of your matters being billed, the first week of the month, and then the second week of the month, the third week, so that you have a much better cash flow going on. Also, trust fund accounting, saying, this particular matter uses this trust fund account, or even an income account. Maybe you're doing, a matter that's like a class action suit, and you want it to be directed, all that income, towards revenue specifically in your chart of accounts for class action suits. I'm not sure why you would do that, but that's just a scenario. So the system is being told, nobody has to think about that once it's set up. Even automation about the retainer. I've told that the system that retainers should never be less than $2,000, even though it's still at $10,000. As soon as it drops below $2,000, boom, I get notified that that project, that matters retainer, is below the threshold, and would issue the retainer invoice. So I don't need to go run a report every month to see what's the retainer and what's the minimum retainer, and find the clients of ours who have need to be invoiced. The system can be doing this for you. By the way, about those notifications, just showing you, we always keep that persistent in your view, so you know what do you need to be reminded about, or what do you need to be notified about. And it only lets you know what you care about, right? So I have 2 invoices that were submitted to me for approval. So maybe Scott Jackson received them, he looked at them, and he's forwarded them on to me. So the system is saying, hey, Steve, review those 2 invoices. And I can click that and go look at those and approve those. And by the way, the minute I approve those, a Core platform will do what you would expect. It will email it directly to the client with our text, our boilerplate text, and my client will have it in hands, within seconds after I've approved it. No one physically needs to do these things any longer. Through the cloud, it's automated. I just wanted to scroll down at the bottom. The last thing I wanted to show you inside of this automation, inside of this single matter, is the ability to do split billing, sometimes very commonly used in law practices where this particular matter needs to be invoiced, or the invoice is going to be shared amongst a number of parties. And so I've allocated 20% of that, the service fees, to be shared by another entity. So Core will automatically split those invoices out and send them instantly to all of those people. Doing this manually is no longer tenable. And I just kind of throwing out some invoices here. Obviously, the kinds of invoices that your firm has can be unique for different kinds of engagements. Here might be, an hourly type of invoice. The thing to point out is this will be viewed by your partner. They'll approve it. They approve it. It can automatically go off to the client. They'll see the Pay Now button right there on the invoice. They click that. And I think almost half of you are already enjoying this type of feature from the survey earlier. So there's no reason you need to mail these invoices any longer, and people send you checks. Everything can be paid electronically today, courtesy of the cloud. And that money transfers directly into your account instantly. Nobody has to go back into the system and log in that this receivable has been paid, and by whom, and on what date, and what amount. When the client pays by hitting the Pay Now button, the system knows exactly how much it was. People get notified that that client has paid their invoice, and nobody has to do any work. I did want to show you just our rich mobile experience, because we use a philosophy called mobile first. And this is something you should be talking to whatever platform you're using or considering to use. Again, it's like a native cloud application. If they don't use a mobile first approach, you're going to be missing out on some really phenomenal things that are going to help you today and into the future. So mobile first means, one, anything that we build, we make sure we're going to deliver to you through a mobile platform. We're not going to require people in business today to be sitting in a desk on a computer. I can be doing this from my dashboard and my Tesla Y. Now, it also means that there are instruments on that device. So I've got my camera, I've got the microphone, I've got GPS, I have an accelerometer and a motion detector, the camera I mentioned. So all of these things are sitting on this device, and my app can take advantage of this. So here we saw a little bit earlier, I've got all of my destinations inside my platform to go to. I maybe wanted to just take a peek and see how people are being utilized. Maybe this is this year, but I could say just show me this week or this month, make sure everybody is properly doing what I expect out of them. Timers, right? So many of you run timers. You get a phone call from one of your clients, you pick it up, you hit the timer. I have my mobile phone sitting on my desk all day long. Just pause and play the timers. We even allow you to run multiple timers because maybe you're multitasking, right? We don't force you to turn off one timer to start another, but at the end of the day, you save all of the accumulated amount of time to your time card, and it will round it out to whatever your increment is. Maybe you use a 6-minute increment, but whatever that is. So the most granular collection of time is being managed through the timer system. And by the way, our timer display will always show you the matters that are most likely going to be worked on by you during this moment in time. So if you're using our resource allocation tool and letting the system know that I'll be working on these 3 matters this week, they'll be waiting for me to use the timers on and off for that. Doing invoicing, why do I need to sit in a computer to do invoicing or look at invoicing? Or maybe my client's on the phone with me and I want to just pull up their invoice. Boom, it's available to me, or I can create an invoice. Maybe some employees have submitted time cards to me and I need to review them and I'm on vacation. I just get the ping notification that so-and-so has submitted their time, pull them up, look at them, decide which are billable or not billable, God forbid, approve them. And as soon as they're approved, they're all ready for billing. And the employee was notified that I approved their time card. Those reminders or notifications that we looked at earlier on the web form, I have all of those pinging me, notifying me, so I can make sure that I get all the things that I'm responsible to get done while I'm on my mobile platform. A couple more I just want to show you. Expense entries. A lot of you, most of you it seems, do use your mobile phone for tracking your expenses. So isn't it beautiful? You just hit the little plus button, take a picture of your receipt. Our optical character recognition scans the receipt for the value of it. Where's the tax portion of it? What's the vendor? Oh, it's a restaurant. So they're going to put that under meals and entertainment. All the AI, the artificial intelligence comes together on that mobile platform when it's native to make this beautiful stuff happen. Connecting your company, our BQE core is connected to all of my company business accounts. So your checking account, your savings account, your credit card accounts, whatever you've got, and having those feeds flow directly here. So I don't have to log in to American Express to see what is the balance of our American Express account. And again, now this is something I talked about earlier, but there's a motion detector, an accelerometer on this device. And so we're using that in our native mobile app to say, where have you been? So you'll notice on this particular instance, back on April 16th when I took the screenshot, I was arrived at a location at 7:24 in the morning and I left it at 1:22 p.m. It's being tracked in the background simply because, this is happening. I have the phone in my pocket. That's almost 6 hours of time. And notice at the top, it says project, and that's a matter. And it's the Long Beach Sports Project. So it knew the geocode for where I spent 6 hours matches up with the geocode for a client of mine for their matter. And it puts the two together and it says, would you like to turn those 6 hours into a time entry? Boom, that's pretty stealthy. I think that's beautiful. And the last thing that's similar to that is mileage tracking. So track my mileage from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it won't bother. Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. I hope that's, hey, Rosemary, nod if everything okay? Everything okay? Yeah, okay. Okay, so mileage tracking. So it's the same idea as visit tracking. It just notes what the distance was. I can turn that into an expense record that might be billable onto the client as a travel expense, but certainly it's going to be reimbursable to me as an employee. So but that's saying that particular moment of travel is really a project or matter related or reimbursable means it's in the system and I don't have to manually create an expense record or even an expense report because Core's got it all up in the cloud. I have poll questions number 2. So Gabby, if you're still listening, your camera is off. If you can come back and launch the final round of poll questions.
All right. Sorry, everybody. My video froze. So I ended up turning it off. But I am here. So here we go with our next poll question.
Oh yeah, so Rosemary really wanted to see this one because she sees it a lot, right, Rosemary? You know, people
Yeah,
who fill out old paper time cards still. I want to see
paper
how many.
time cards. Yeah, I mean, it's so inefficient. So curious how many people still do that as opposed to entering their own time and use yourself as a valuable resource.
You're all anonymous, so don't worry about being honest here. Anyway, so yes, you do. You uh, you complete your time card on paper. And some of you who might be older, like my age, might say, that's fine, I don't care about it. Others say, I do it, but I'm kind of embarrassed by it because we know it could be better. Or false means you already have a system. As I noticed, a lot of you do already track time through your mobile phones at least. So we know you have a system in place. So Gabby, I don't know how we're doing there, but just share those results.
Yep, I'll go ahead and share them. It looks like our submissions have slowed down. So here we go.
Okay, well, that's really good.
Yeah.
Only 16% are still doing it that way, and that's just fine. 24% know they could do better, and 60% do have that system. And I think there's only 2 more poll questions.
Yep, there's only 2 more, so I'll go ahead and pull those up.
Yeah, so this is about those reports. Remember, we talked about automated reports. So just curious about how you generate reports in your company, if they are as important as we believe they are. So you're fine with them being done manually. Since you don't create them, you don't care. Someone else is doing it. Or yes, you know that's a problem. It's a waste of time and resources. Or yeah, you get the reports, but you really don't care because you don't read reports anyway. Or this is false, that everything is centralized and those reports are automated. So I'd love to know if people are using things like our core BQE core legal platform that does automate that. Just curious to see how many of you have systems that are comparable to that.
I'll give you guys a couple more seconds, then we'll go ahead and share our results.
This is one of my favorite features, working with partners for so many years. They always want reports. They have to call. So it's really good to just have them in your inbox. Really love this.
Yeah, well, 44% are doing great. They do have a central system, and I don't know if it's automated, but at least they have the data in a system so they don't have to, put it all together manually. But 30, 40, 55, 56% of people, I should say, still gather it from various sources. They don't have a single source of truth. We find this often to be very puzzling because you get data from different sources and you don't know, did we include this source this month? Did we forget this source? Where is the disparity happening? Or maybe somebody transposed those numbers if they put it in manually. So those are big problems, but so overwhelming of you really still have a problem in my estimation. And Gabby, what's that last question?
All right, our last question is coming through right now, and here we go.
Oh, our firm is looking to improve efficiency with a cloud-based software with a fully functional mobile apps. That is such a self-serving question. But yes, we just love to know if you realize that you are missing out on an amazing opportunity to transform your company. And I'm hoping about 60% of you will answer true to that. Of 44%, I believe, we're already at least having a single system in place. So let's see how you feel. And then I really just have something really interesting to share before we get to Q&A. I just wanted to share one other thing.
All right, looks like most of the votes are in, so I'm going to go ahead and share the results.
Okay, well, that's almost exactly where we thought, because it was, so 63% of you do recognize that there's the cloud's going to bring some great benefit to your company. So that's good to see. And then the 37% is close to the 44% we saw earlier that at least have the cloud. But great. So Gabby, thank you for sharing that. We'll promise you no more poll questions, but there will be Q&A, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I did want to share with you something that I don't think you'll find anywhere else right now. And this is something that also comes to you, again, because of these new technologies. So many of you probably have an Amazon Alexa or Echo at home, or a Google Dot or Google Hub, or you use, you know, Siri, hopefully she doesn't pick up, to speak with your device and have it give you really amazing kinds of information. So I just want to show you what we do inside of BQE Core. We call it Core Intelligence. And I actually made this video. I won't trouble you with the entire video because I want to get to Q&A. I'm going to pick out some snippets from, I had a nonstop 5-minute conversation. If anybody wants to hear the whole thing, I'll send me an email later and I'll send you a link to the video. It's a full 5 minutes of having a conversation with my business software. So let's go give this one a play. And I'm using, by the way, I'm using Google Assistant and on my phone because it allows you to actually see some visuals as well and see my questions as well. But of course, if you're talking to Amazon or Alexa, you know, you're not going to see anything, but let's just give this a shot. Okay, Google.
And this is my favorite feature. Oh, whoops, sorry.
Oh, okay, business doing this year. So I asked it, how is my business doing this year?
This year, your net profit is 17%, which amounts to $30,293. You have one.
Okay, well, I won't read. You can read it if you want. I won't take the whole thing. But what I want you to see is I ask it, and that was a real-time question and answer, right? So today you want to know how is, you know, what's your profitability this year? You go run a report, P&L statement or something like that, you'll get it. I could say, how's my business doing this quarter, this month, this year, last year? And that's some of those are in there. So I want you to see that. I won't. It also gives you some graphics. We're still working on the graphics that are displayed, but most of the time you're just there to listen to it. I also wanted to take you over here. So let me go right over here. Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. Hang on. We're going to fast forward to
$20 of income. Yes.
Right.
Yes, your account balance is 728,000.
Well, I had asked it, do I have enough money? You can see it. By the way, see at the top it says, how much do our clients owe us? I said, how much do our clients owe us? But it's using natural language processing to understand, oh, he doesn't mean OS, operating system. He means how much do they owe us? So it came out and it says that our accounts receivable is 294. And then I asked it, do I have enough money in the bank to pay my bills? And it looks at all of our liquid accounts. So it's got my checking account, my savings account, what kind of cash is on hand that I can use to pay all my receivables. So,
$281.
So I had that.
What else can I help you with?
Update me on the Pasadena Elementary School. Okay, particular matter.
The project is doing very well with a profit percentage of 22%. Pasadena owes.
Okay, so as you see here, I'm not going to take you through the whole thing. She identifies the matter I'm dealing with. It tells me it's 22% profit margin. How much does the client owe us? And then some more things that I could ask it, but I am going to move forward to down over here. So we're going to go right to here. Oh, I did it again, guys. I hit the wrong key. Hang on a second. Let me just do that one more time. 245, so I'm going to go here.
Profitability is 21%. Know more about the profit. 70. A total of 353, which has already been paid, leaving a balance of $94,790. Any other questions?
Who are my top 3 clients? Okay, so imagine you ask, who are your top 3 clients? How do you figure out what that even means, okay?
Here are of your top 3 clients. Aspen Chamber of Commerce is ranked number 3 with 21%.
Okay, so just pointing that out, you say, who are my top 3 clients? And let me move forward a little bit here to here.
Number 2 with 22. White Space is ranked. What else can I help you with?
Who were my top 3 employees last year? Good question. Who are your best employees?
Here are your 3 top employees and their effective bill rates. Last year, Jen DeMarco is ranked number 3 with an.
So I'll stop that, but just so to point out, last year, what that means is Jan DeMarco, every hour she touched a matter, brought us $171, okay? So that's basically her effective bill rate. Some of her hours might have been billed at $250 an hour. Maybe it wasn't billable at all, but in the end of that period, every hour times the revenue, the revenue she brought into the firm divided by the hours she put in is $171. So I want you to see that. And then I'm going to move on to 4 minutes in, which would be right about here.
$2 and a utilization rate of 86%.
Couple more guys.
Do you want to know more about Jen?
No, but what was her ideal pay rate last year?
Last year, the ideal pay rate for Jen would have been $52.
So think about that for a second. We didn't talk about this earlier, but the core platform knows the employee's salary and her multiple direct salary expense. It knows her utilization rate. It knows her realization rate. It even knows my profit expectations. I've told core I want a 20% profit. Otherwise, I'm retiring. I'm going to go sit on the beach here in LA and just let my money and, you know, earn some interest somewhere and have no stress. But I'm working 60 hours a week. I want to have a certain profit expectation. So it's telling me last year, if I paid Jan $52 an hour as her base salary, that means I got a 20% profit margin from her. So if I paid her $50 an hour, there's room for a bonus or a salary increase. If I pay her $80 an hour as a base salary, then we're going to have a little discussion here because I'm not making money off of her, clearly. Let me say, I got one more.
Anything else?
How much work does Sally have next week?
There are 38 hours assigned to Sally. What else can I help you?
That's a feature, by the way. If you want people working on certain things, you can assign them to work on them on certain date ranges in our resource allocation tool. And I think that's it for me. What's on my to-do list for today? What's on my to-dos?
You have one thing on your to-do list for today's date.
Okay, so just imagine you're getting in your car and you say, you know, core intelligence, what's on my calendar today? And it says you have a 10:30 meeting with Bob Smith. Remind him he owes you $35,000 and it's 15 days late, past due. Okay, that's the kind of thing core intelligence does for you that you really can't do using a system because you have to think, what's the question to ask, right? So the system's actually putting together all these disparate pieces of information and putting it into something that's really actionable and informative. So with that, I'm going to stop this slide. I just want to let you know before we get to Q&A, some strategies I'm often asked about what should we be looking about with the cloud, because some 63% of you, I guess, were looking for that, is make sure what you're looking at is software driven. So stop it with those spreadsheets that are human driven. Have the software run this stuff for you. It's not things that require, it's not the highest and best use of very high level people. Okay, mobile first, mentioned that earlier. Make sure they have a platform that's designed around mobile first because you are becoming more and more mobile. Fully integrated. A bunch of you have already explained that you got a bunch of stuff in various systems. There's no single source of truth, you know, no single throat to choke, as we say. So that's what you really are looking for. So you don't have to kind of figure out, is everything right? Is everything there? Did we miss something? If you are integrating apps, make sure they have those APIs that support the ability to share information, push and pull information back and forth between them. Make sure that when you're sitting in the dentist chair and they tell you, we've got this great scheduling software for our patients, that's not the right system for your practice, okay? That something needs to be designed specifically for your dentist, because I'm pretty sure your dentist doesn't do trust fund accounting, right? Having business intelligence, you know, built in, which is those dashboards that give you real information, which is different than the artificial intelligence, which is actually taking over the decision making for you. And make sure you have somebody in your company who is accountable for this transformation. Okay, that basically treats this like they would a paying client. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I ran this long, Rosemary. Otherwise it will not happen. Okay, people will tend to revert back to their old ways of doing business because it kind of worked. We know it's flawed, but it worked. But if you don't make somebody responsible to make this transformation happen for your firm, I can almost guarantee you that it will not happen.
All right, and it looks like that is all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank our sponsor BQE and all of you for attending our webinar today as part of the LTRC Industry Insight Series. If you are curious about future webinars, please check out the ABA LTRC page or follow our Twitter at LTRC for updates. I'd also like to thank Steve and Rosemary for presenting today, and we will now conclude the webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Take care, Earl.
Bye, everyone.